really get into the pre-trip, starting with it. Show him the key, put it in your pocket. Tell him that you would chalk the wheels, and that's a chalk right there. But you don't have to chalk the wheel, right? So key in my pocket, my wheel is chalk. I will start from the top and I'll work my way down. My cab lights is clean, not broken, and they work. My windshield is clean and not broken. If this truck had hood mirrors, I would check and make sure they're clean, not broken, mine is secure, no missing bolts. My headlights, they're clean, not broken, and they work. My tag is valid and up to date. I look up under my truck and make sure it's not leaking. I look and make sure my truck's not leaning to the left or right. If it is, it could be either a suspension problem or a flat or low tire. Okay? Now let's raise our hood.
Already I did both.
Okay. You want to try to raise it from the front?
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Okay. Now we know that we just did the pre-trip on the inside a while ago, so the engine's going to be warm. I'm not going to touch anything on it on this point. Okay. So for my exhaust, so that what's rusty at?
Yes.
Okay, point at it.
That's off.
To the back. That's up the back of the truck. I'm checking to make sure it's nice and secure, no missing bolts, no black soot. Black soot is an indication of a leak. Okay? Go back up here. I'm going to start with my windshield washer reservoir. I'm going to make sure it's nice and secure, no missing bolts, no leaks. Anything that can leak, you got to mention no leaks. All right? I'm going to come to my coolant reservoir. It's nice and secure, no missing bolts, no leaks. I'm going to follow my hose, come up to my water pump, make sure it's nice and secure, no missing bolts, no leaks, and it can be belt or gear driven. All right? We don't have to remember, we don't have to tell them which one it is. It can be either or. Okay? Let's move to the other side. I'm going to start with my steering wheel or keys. It can be held on by either or a belt or a bolt or a Carter key. My gearbox, nice secure, no missing bolts, no leaks. See, it's got a hose on it. It could leak. This is my power steering reservoir. I want to make sure it's nice and secure, no missing bolts, no leaks. This is where I would check my oil. This is where I fill my oil. Remember, do not have to pull the dipstick out and show them. You're just telling them where you check, where you fill. Okay, I'm going to move on to my alternator. My alternator is nice and secure, no missing bolts. The wires are not frayed. My belt is no more than 3/4 inch slack at the longest point. Okay. Now we'll go to my air compressor. Sits back in there. Nice and secure, no missing bolts. It's not leaking, and it can be belt or gear driven. Okay. Now I'm going to move on to my suspension. This is a spring mount, and back there's a spring mount. It's nice and secure, no missing bolts. My leaf springs sit like this. They're nice and secure, no missing bolts, and not broken or shifted. Okay. Now I'm going to move to my shock absorber. Nice and secure, no missing bolts, and no leaks. My U-bolts, they're nice and secure, no missing bolts. And that's all on the suspension. Now we'll move to the brakes. On the outside there is 5. Remember, 5 on our brakes. Brake chamber. Nice secure, no missing bolts, no leaks. My air line is not cut or leaking. My slack adjuster, right here. You can adjust it 1 inch by hand or 2 inches if someone's in the cab applying the brakes. Inside of my rim, where I cannot see, I have a brake drum and a brake pad. Brake drum is no oil, grease, or cracks. Brake pad no less than 1/4 inch thickness. Now we're going to move to our tire. My front tire should be 4/32 a tread, 100 psi, no A, B, or C. And that's a bulgings, breakages, or cuts. Now I'm going to move to my rim. No WCW, welds, cracks, or warps. I'm going to move to my lug nuts. Running rust indicate looseness. Proper waiting to tighten or check it is by a lug wrench. My DLT valve stem and cap is in place. Inside of here is a hub seal. Make sure it's nice secure, no missing bolts, and no leaks. Okay. Now I got my splash guard. Nice secure, no missing bolts. We'll move on back to our mirror and our door. It's got to be mounted secure, no missing bolts, clean and not broken. I'm going to open my door, showing that my hinges and latches is working, mounted secure, no missing bolts. Okay, you just open it and close it. Alright, we'll move to right here. My battery box is up under here. It's mounted secure, no missing bolts. My steps is free of debris, mounted secure, no missing bolts. Let's move on back here to our fuel tank. My fuel tank and my fuel tank straps, they're mounted secure, no missing bolts. I look up under my fuel tank to make sure it's not leaking. Now, again, this is, if you want to, you can. You open up the fuel cap, you show him it's got a DLT chain and a rubber seal. This DLT chain, that's your rubber seal to make sure it's clean. Okay? Getting ready to move on back. This is my emergency equipment department. I should have 3 reflective triangles, 2 fire extinguishers. One is for 5-pound non-hazmat, the other one's 10-pound hazmat. And I should have extra fuses or breakers, whatever my truck requires. Okay. Now I'm going to move on back to the headboard of my truck. There should be no damage to it, and it should have the DLT reflective tape at the top. Okay. Now I'm going to come inside of here to my air and electrical line. It goes from my truck to my trailer. On my air lines, they should not be leaking. They should be connected to my glad hands. They should be mounted secure, no missing bolts. My electrical line should not be frayed. Okay. Now I'm going to come to my catwalk. Sorry, that's my catwalk and my steps. Make sure they're mounted secure, no missing bolts, free of debris. Come to my frame. Make sure it's not cracked, mounted secure, no missing bolts. My dry shaft, it sits right under your catwalk here. Make sure it's not bent, broken, or warped. Mounted secure, no missing bolts. Okay? Now let's go ahead and go to the bulkhead of the trailer. No damage. We're going to make sure my lights at the top are clean, not broken, and they work. Now I'm going to come straight back down from that. I got my splash guard. Mounted secure, no missing bolts. Okay? Now I'm going to come in here and start with the suspension back here. This is a spring mount back here. Mounted secure, no missing bolts. Leaf springs. Anytime there's 2, it's a leaf spring. If it's 1, it's just a spring. Okay. Leaf springs back here is mounted secure, no missing bolts, not broken or shifted. Okay. U-bolts, mounted secure, no missing bolts. Back here we have a torsion shock. Up front it's a shock absorber. Mounted secure, no missing bolts, and not leaking. Okay. Y'all know where it's at? Okay. It's that right there. That's the torsion shock.
Got it. That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Right. Moving on, we'll come to our airbag. You want to make sure it's mounted secure, no missing bolts, not leaking. Okay. Now we're going to come to these tires. These tires, first let me go to my brakes. Okay. The 5 things again on the brakes is the same. Your brake chamber is mounted secure, no missing bolts, not leaking. Air line's not cut or leaking. Slack adjuster's 1 inch by hand, 2 inches if someone's in a cab applying a brake. Brake drum, no oil, grease, or cracks, and brake pad, no less than a 1/4 inch thickness. Now I'll come to these tires. 2 30-seconds of tread, 100 psi, no A, B, or C, and that's bulgings, breakages, or cuts. I'll check the spacing or buzz space between my tires, make sure they're free of debris. I'll go to my rim, no WCW, that's wells, cracks, or warps. I'll go to my lug nuts. Running rust indicate looseness. Proper way tighten or check is by a lug wrench. I'll check my DLT valve stem and cap, make sure it's in place. And this back here is a axle seal. Make sure it's mounted secure, no missing bolts, and not leaking. And now, I will check this set just like I checked that set.
Got it.
Okay? Now while we're here, let's go ahead and do our 5th wheel. Alright. We're checking for a gap in between our apron, kingpin, and platform. Okay? We want to make sure the release arm is in place. I want to make sure my mounting bolts is mounted secure, no missing bolts. If equipped with a sliding 5th wheel, and this one is, I would check my safety latch and my locking pins. Some 2 things right there. Okay. Now, as I come back here, I want to make sure that the locking jaw is around the shank. Okay. The shank, as you can see on this trailer up here, because it's not hooked to the truck. That's the shank. It goes around the locking jaw of the truck once you connect them. Okay?
Okay.
Now we'll move back up here. And we'll go to the splash guard. It's mounted secure, no missing bolts. Okay? I'm gonna look down the side of my trailer, make sure there's no damage to it, make sure it has the what? DLT reflective tape.
Yes.
Clean and not missing. I check my lights. If I got lights that go all the way down it, check them, make sure they're clean, not broken, and they work. Okay? Let's go ahead and go to our landing gear. Make sure it's fully raised, free of debris, mounted secure, no missing bolts, and the arm is in place. Right here where these 4 bolts are, going all the way down the trailer, is a frame under the trailer. It's called a frame or cross members. Either one you want to call it. Make sure it's mounted secure, no missing bolts. Okay? If I had a refrigerator unit, I would have a side door right here. I would check my hinges, latches, and door tie. Door tie is what holds it open. Moving on back, this is a left turn signal / marker light that is clean, not broken, and it works. Moving on back, my air lines. They must be 18 inches from the ground up. Okay? Now we're going to come on back here and we're going to start with the suspension back here. 2 things, air ride trailer. So it has a torsion shock and an airbag. They both are mounted secure, no missing bolts, and not leaking. Then I'll go into my brakes. Brake chamber, mounted secure, no missing bolts, no leaks. Air lines not cut or leaking. Slack adjuster is 1 inch by hand, 2 inches if someone's in a cab applying the brakes. My brake drum, no oil, grease, or cracks, and my brake pad no less than a 1/4 inch thickness. Now I'll move to my tires. These tires are also 2/32 of tread, 100 psi, no A, B, or C, bulging, bridges, or cuts. I'll check the space in between my tires, make sure it's free of debris. My rim is no WCW, weld, cracks, or warps. I'll go to my lug nuts. Running rust indicate looseness. The proper weight tightener check is by a lug wrench. I'll check my DLT valve stem and cap and make sure they're in place. And my hub seal. Make sure it's mounted secure, no missing bolts, not leaking. Okay? I will check this set just like I checked that set. We'll move on back. Splash guard. Mounted secure, no missing bolts. This is the door tie for my back door. I'll make sure it's mounted secure, no missing bolts. Okay? This trailer has an ABS light on it, so we have to mention it. Clean, not broken, and it works. Okay? We'll come on back here to the back of our trailer. You do not have to open the door on your trailer. You just tell them what you would check. Then it's going to be your hinges and your latches, but they're mounted secure, no missing bolts. Okay? Then I would check and make sure I got DLT reflective tape, clean and not missing. My lights, when you say lights and point at it, it covers all your lights, okay? They're clean, not broken, and they work. I'll check my tag, make sure it's valid and up to date. My tag light, to make sure it's clean, not broken, and works. This is a DLT bumper, okay? What is specific about this bumper with a DLT? It's got to be mounted secure, no missing bolts, and it cannot be bent 6 inches in or 6 inches out, okay? I'll come to this side over here and tell the examiner I would check this side just like I checked that side, except for my spare tire rack. This trailer don't have it, but if it had a spare tire rack, it'd be about right up in here toward the front. Make sure it's mounted secure, no missing bolts, and it's got the DLT chain. Okay, and that's it. The thing about the DLT bumper in the back.
Unlatch, it works. Okay. Then you're here. Start from the top down. Okay. So, windshield, no cracks, it's clean, no obstruction. Okay. Then go ahead and come on over here. You got your city horn, or your city horn here, your road horn here. Okay. No excessive play in your clutch, not more than 2 inches. Okay. No excessive play in your shifter. 20-inch wheel, no more than 2 inches of play, or 10 degrees. Okay. We'll come over here. We'll check our headlights. Headlights work. High beams work. Okay. We're going to do our hazards, left turn signal, right turn signal, that all works. Okay? Then we're going to start here and go over. Okay? So we've got our oil pressure should be between 40 and 60. Okay? Our engine temperature should rise normally 190 to 200. Okay? Our voltmeter should read between 12 and 14. Okay? Our air gauges should read between 100 to 125. Okay? Both of them if you have two. Okay? Then we're going to come on over here. Okay? Windshield wipers, they work, fasten securely, not loose. Okay? Then we're going to come down here. Okay? Heater works, defrost works, everything's good. Okay? Go ahead and turn that off. So, we've covered all of that. Now we need to do the brakes. Okay? So, what we're going to do is we're going to put it into a low gear. Okay? We're going to test one. Okay? Let's test the parking brake. Okay? We're going to slightly let off until we feel a little movement. That brake works. Okay? Push that one in, pull the other one out. Now we're going to test the parking brake on the truck. Same thing. With a low gear, just a little bit. That one works. Okay. Put both of them in. Now we're going to test our service brake. Okay. So what we're going to do, low gear again, just a little bit of movement. Brake works. Okay. Take it out, put it in neutral. Okay. Well, if they're still in, we're going to turn the track off. Come back to the on position. I'm going to turn that vent off back there so we can hear. Alright. Now, we're going to listen for any air leaks. Okay? Can't lose more than 3 psi in 60 seconds. Okay? Then we're going to apply 90 pounds of pressure to the service brake. We're going to listen for air leaks again. Okay? No more than 4 psi in 60 seconds. All right. Now, the alarm's already going off, but we would pump the brakes down to 60 psi, and we should hear the buzzer and the alarm light go on. Okay? That already did it, so I don't have to do that. Now, we're going to pump the brakes down to where they...
Top to bottom, left to right. Alright. First thing I'm going to start off with is my windshield. There's no illegal stickers, no cracks. Clean, free of debris. Alright. Mirrors, both of my mirrors are set to my side of viewing. Got my air horn, city horn, roll horn, and city horn. Alright. I got a steering wheel. The steering wheel is no more than 2 inches of play on the 20-inch wheel. Clutch, there's no more than 2 inches of play. In my gear, there's no excessive play in it. Alright. I'm start left to right, so I'm going to go ahead and test my lights. Low beam working, high beam working. Alright. I'll start my hazard lights working. My left turn signal, right turn signal working. Alright. So we said we're going to start left to right, so I'm going to start from the left. Starting with my oil, engine oil pressure. It should be between 40 to 60 psi. Alright. My engine temperature should be between 190 to 200. Alright. My battery should be between 12 12 to 14 voltage. Right? Alright. I got two sets of gauges on my air pressure, PSI. They both should be between 100 and 125. Right. Now, my heat defrost are working. Alright. Windshield. Now, I've covered everything on that. Now we're going to talk about the braking. First off, I'm going to test my parking braking. To test my parking braking, I got to clutch in and go to a low gear and push the red valve. Push in to test the parking brake. Now I'm going to slightly tug on it. Alright, I didn't feel that. Alright. My parking brake is working. Now I'm going to pull my trailer back out and push that one in and test it. Slightly tug on it. It works. So now I'm going to push both of them in to test my service brake. And to test it, I will go 5 miles per hour and press on the brakes. I'm going to slightly do that. Alright, good. Brake works. Alright. Going to go to neutral. I tested all 3 of my brakes. Now I'm going to kill the engine. Going to slightly come off the clutch, making sure I'm in neutral. Alright. Now I'm going to kill the engine. Alright. Now I'm going to come back to the on position. Alright. Now I'm going to stop, roll my window down, and I'm going to listen. Alright. I'm going to listen for leaks. Alright. I shouldn't lose no more than 3 PSI within a minute. Alright. Now I'm going to apply 90 pounds of pressure onto the brake, and I shouldn't lose no more than 4 PSI.
In 60 seconds.
In 60 seconds. Alright. It's good. Alright. Now I'm going to test out my low air pressure buzzer. And to test that out, I want to go below 60 PSI. Until the buzzer sounds. Alright? The buzzer just sounds, indicating that it works. So now I'm going to pump down all the way to between 20 to 40 PSI until my valves pop out. You want to watch the valves until they pop out, because sometimes you may not see it. Alright, both of them popped out. I'm done with this. Now I can crank my engine back up and let my pressure build up. Feel?